Tarte is a makeup brand that's known for its lavish brand trips. Influencers will be invited to these all-expense-paid trips to a beautiful location where they'll promote the new Tarte products. Tarte has been known to cause major controversies surrounding their brand trips in the past, with their last brand trip to Dubai being criticized for not having a diverse enough group of influencers. So apparently, Tarte heard the criticism and decided to do something about it. This time around, they decided to invite a more diverse group of influencers. However, their treatment of this more diverse group of influencers is the problem this time, and it has caused huge drama on the internet. So it all started when the influencers got to the villa and started to film the infamous room tours. And that's when a creator by the name Cynthia realized that her room was actually much smaller than the other influencers. She captioned her room tour video, "They put me in the smallest room, but I'm just happy to be here." And when she came back home from the trip, she sat down and explained her thoughts and what exactly happened on Tarte Island.
First, I want to talk directly to Maureen and the Tarte family and express how thankful I am to be invited on such a big brand trip and to be acknowledged as a creator. Coming from a South Asian community, a lot of the times we are just looked over. I am a plus size creator, and I also come from Newark. By just inviting me on this brand trip, so many people who look like me will feel like they can make it as well. I know this job, this trip, and the life I live is a privilege, but I've worked for it. And now to address the elephant in the room, was my room too small? Please just hear me out, because trust me, I literally hear how such a first world problem this sounds. This is the storyline. After I land, I go see my room. I'm super ecstatic. Everything is perfect. Like, I literally cannot believe I'm at Princess House. I can't believe the room I have. I can't believe all the free merch I've gotten. I'm over the moon and I'm super excited. However, the first night when I'm in bed editing, I come across the other girls' TikToks where they're showing their room tours. And this is when I feel some type of way. This may not make sense to a lot of you, but just please hear me out. I'm a brown minority creator in this influencer, content creator, TikTok era. And a lot of the times I get the short end of the stick. Whether it's getting paid less for the same advertisement or not getting paid at all. I 100% agree that that room is more than enough. I don't even have a bedroom myself that is the size of the room I got. However, I do believe I am worth what I am worth. I hope people will understand is it was never about the size of the room. It was just about getting treated equally to my counterparts / co-workers.
Another thing that Cynthia explained bothered her about the trip was that there were two parts to this trip, two seasons, if you will. So there was one group that was going to be there for the first season, which Cynthia was a part of. And then that group was meant to go home. And then there will be a new group of new influencers that will come in for the second season. However, some influencers from the first season were invited to stay for the second season, while other influencers were sent home.
However, one thing I would not lie about is how I thought it was weird that they kept a few people who were on season 1 to season 2. Again, made things feel like it was unequal, and it almost felt like a competition where people got disqualified and people got to stay. I personally think season 2 should have just been with a group of whole new girls. And I even thought it was a little fishy because some people only got invited last minute to stay for season 2. And to bring it back to me saying I was spiraling and needed a social media break on my Instagram is literally because when you go on vacation, you come back home, you're hit with reality, you're hit with your real life. And the vacation, the brand trip that I just took was the biggest trip of my life. I have never lived a life like that. And to come back to my home in Newark and having to live and just build myself up was just difficult. A lot of the times when I go on brand trips or just trips overall, I come back and I think about what I need to do in order to work harder or to make more money so I can live that life. I ended up spiraling because I just thought about the idea of capitalism and how some people always will stay on top, whether they're influencers, whether it's a brand, and no matter what you do as a BIPOC creator, it is just so much harder for you to make it to that place.
So the Tarte trip to Tarte Island ended, but that was not the end of the drama for Tarte. After the Tarte trip ended, an influencer by the name of Bria Jones came forward to talk about her experience with a planned Tarte trip to the Formula One races in Miami.
So I was supposed to be going on a Tarte trip and I was going to be leaving tomorrow to go to Formula One in Miami, and I decided that I'm not going to go. I've just been really upset today because even before I'm getting to this trip, I'm realizing that I'm not going to be treated like everyone else there. I would love to go on a Tarte trip, and trust me, I'm so grateful, but I have more integrity than to get all the way to Miami and realize that I'm being treated like a second tier person or like I'm being ranked. It just feels like a sorority situation, and I'm not doing that. I don't care if this means that I no longer have a relationship with the Tarte team, but I don't agree with how they're doing this.
So apparently, Bria was told by the Tarte team that she was going to be there for the actual race day, but later noticed that her return tickets was actually booked for a day before the actual race, as opposed to the rest of the influencers invited on this trip who were booked to go home after the actual race.
So the actual race is on Sunday the 7th. I was invited to come out from the 4th to the 6th. But initially in the email, it said something about being front row May 7th at the race. So once I realized my flights didn't align with the actual race, I asked them about it and they said, oh, don't worry, you'll still get to see like the practice races and stuff. But I have some friends that are going on the trip and I asked them when they were leaving and they all said they were leaving Monday and I was the only one leaving Saturday. So I just feel a little stupid, and I understand that my numbers are not like some of these other creators, but I just wish that there was more transparency up front. And I also, I have a screenshot of what was said at the beginning of our email thread, so I guess I misunderstood. But either way, I know that Cynthia had a similar experience, and I just don't like that this is happening to people who want to be a part of these Tarte trips. And personally, I don't get why, if they're going to do these trips, they don't just treat everyone the same. I have worked too hard to get to where I am today, and I will be damned as a Black creator if I accept anything other than equal treatment on these trips. And yes, Tarte can do whatever they want to do. Yes, they can. But I don't have to accept or agree with it.
Maureen, who is the CEO of Tarte, responded to this and basically said that what they were planning to do is actually have different influencers come in for different days. In Formula One, there are supposed to be a few practice races and then the main event, which is the actual race. But there were supposed to be a few groups of influencers coming in. Some of them were only supposed to be there for the practice races. She said that she wanted to invite as many people as possible, even if it meant that some of them were not going to be in the actual race.
I woke up pretty sad this morning and I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple of things. We've had our share of mistakes and I definitely want to take responsibility for them. But sometimes miscommunications happen. You know, I see my team working so hard and I just want to clear the air on a couple. I just love having a lot of people around. So, you know, when I go on vacations, I'm just very much like a more the merrier type of person. So when you're going on a trip in a house, not every room can be the same. And for me, I valued having, you know, more people there as opposed to just having just a few people, a handful of people, and having them just be in the big rooms and having the small rooms be empty. And this weekend, we're going to F1, and I wasn't thinking about what's going on at the track. I was just thinking, how can we get the most people to just have this fabulous experience? So we made a plan for everyone to have one day at the racetrack, one really nice dinner, and one really fun night at the club. So everybody was coming for the same amount of time, and I was really excited to hang out with so many, you know, really cool creators. And every day had a mix of big creators and up and coming creators, and nothing was decided based on the follower count. I mean, I wish I had the amount of followers that these creators had. And I thought we were gonna hang out at the VIP cabanas and really just enjoy that weekend. But it turns out that people really wanted to go to, you know, that Sunday race. It was important to them. I realized that the things that were important to me are maybe not important to everybody else. So the team and I quickly adjusted. We got a ton of extra tickets. And so everybody can go to whichever day that they want. I'm all about lifting up others and making people feel good. So I couldn't imagine making someone feel sad or, you know, just like hurting someone's feelings.
Prior talking about her experience with Tarte, plus their questionable history with Black creators, caused a lot of people on TikTok especially to speak up about this reoccurring issue with Tarte.
A couple of things. We've had
They're saying they shouldn't be complaining because they're on a free vacation. They are not on a vacation. They are on a work trip. Influencers, there are millions of makeup brands that will pay them the same money Tarte will to promote their products. They don't need Tarte. When these are the women running the trip, and I'm sure they are all incredible employees and great at their jobs, but when your entire team is white women, what do you think is going to happen on these trips? I mean, come on. If you have a lot of people of color on your influencer marketing and PR teams, they would catch things that could be issues or problematic.
This girl brought up the best points imaginable. I have waited so long for a creator of color, for a Black woman to come online and tell a brand like this no, for like ever. I've waited. This reminds me of like the early 2010s when influencers and like style hall and all of that was like a big deal. And I remember Maybelline had a collaboration with a few, like maybe two or three, maybe four girls, okay? And two of these girls were Amrezy and Makeup by Shayla. As they sent them to different locations to go and promote them in person. I remember they sent them to like hotels, little boutiques, the mall, you know, really cutesy places where people would want to go and go meet their favorite creators. Amrezy was at this super pretty place, like super Amrezy like. But tell me why they sent Shayla to a Walmart. And I remember thinking to myself, like, what made her say yes to this? Since this whole thing jumped off, I have seen Bria everywhere, everywhere. She's been all over my Pinterest, my TikTok, my Instagram, promoting Olay, CoverGirl. Like, no, like what this girl is saying is true. They don't need brands like Tarte. There's other people that will pay them the amount of money and treat them for what they're worth. Tarte messed up, but when do they not? And it's time for more creators to step up and start telling these people no.
Since then, Bria made a video statement where she said that she and Tarte have cleared things up and that she's looking forward to working with them again.
I wanted to update you that I've been in contact with Maureen and the Tarte team, and we are very much so on the same page with everything. There was miscommunication on both ends, and I recognize my mistake in responding so quickly and publicly, but Tarte has done a great job of working through the situation with me. So I know we're both glad to be moving forward in a positive way.
This statement from Bria seemed kind of forced to a lot of the viewers, and people said things like they miscommunicated, but only she made a mistake. That apology was written by Tarte, no doubt. It's giving silenced. I really hope she's okay. I'm not sure why Tarte keeps finding themselves having so many issues every time they do a collaboration with creators. But what do you guys think? I'm really curious to know what you guys think about this. Leave me a comment. I would love to know your opinion, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.